Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We are on to week 13 of our pillar principles, which is practice blameless problem solving. Demonstrate a relentless solution focus rather than pointing fingers or dwelling on problems. Identify lessons learned and use those lessons to improve ourselves and our processes so we don't make the same mistake twice. Get smarter with every mistake, learn from every experience. Um, this dovetails nicely with our desire for growth and development, right? And so the biggest mistake you can make is focusing on who created problems versus just what are the problems and how do we solve them. I take you back to a couple of years ago when we worked with Cujo in his book Debrief to Win, and I think about that whole process is really a problem-solving process, right? And you think about what he did for a living after he was a fighter pilot. He taught fighter pilots how to get better, and then he's translated that into working with corporations on how to debrief problems and find solutions. So let me just read. He's got if you go back to chapter 6 of his book, which really talks about the process of a debrief in understanding problems. He's got a 6-step process, and I'm just going to read those quickly or recite those quickly. Step 1 is reconstruct what happened. Number 2, agree on the focus points or the questions that need to be answered. Number 3 is explore all possible answers. Number 4, agree on root causes. Step 5, organize a plan to improve. And step 6 is to document the outcomes. So when you think about those 6 steps to problem solving, there is no place in there where he talks about who created the problem. Because if you do, all you're doing is going further backwards. You're not moving forwards. You're not able to identify, and solve any issues. So you absolutely have to take the who out of the equation when we come across problems or issues and we want to solve them. There's just no productive piece of blaming or thinking about who created the problem. I'll give you a short story. I learned this lesson personally several years ago. I was living in Eau Claire, and a friend of mine had invited me to go with her to the Phantom of the Opera in Minneapolis. And she lived in Altoona. I picked her up, and we were driving to the Twin Cities. The show was in downtown Minneapolis. And we got to Hudson, and she looked at me and she said, "I forgot the tickets." And of course, at first I thought she was joking, and I looked at her and I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yes." Well, oddly enough, we were right to the Carmichael exit. I literally said nothing, got off the exit, went across the highway, turned around, went all the way back to Altoona, picked up the tickets. Sure enough, they were sitting on the kitchen counter, and drove back to Minneapolis. We got to our hotel, got to dinner, got to the show, all a bit rushed, but it all came together just fine. And after it was all done, she said to me, she goes, "I can't believe you did not get mad at me for that." And I just remember looking at her and saying, well, what purpose would that have served? I wanted to go to Minneapolis. I lived in Eau Claire, so I didn't get to go there often. I wanted to go to a nice restaurant, and I wanted to go to a great show. And so had I gotten mad and placed blame on her or focused on that instead of the only solution was to turn around and go get them. And so had I done that, I would have ruined the whole day. And I just, that lesson, although I never planned for it, has stuck with me for many years. Like, I'm glad I didn't get mad because I would have ruined the experience for both of us. And so I use that all the time, is just take a kind of a breath and think about what the situation calls for, which is what's the solution, and not to focus at all on who created the problem. So just a lesson I learned long ago, and I carry with me to this day. So anyway, have a good day. Thanks for listening.